When it comes to the Sopranos rats, some are more complicated than others. So that's what this video is about. For these rats, or alleged rats, when do they get flipped? First, Jimmy Altieri. Rat? Almost definitely. Game over? I Dream of Jeannie Cusimano? Revealed? In the Soprano basement. We never found out for sure if Jimmy Altieri was a rat, but I'd say it's pretty damn close to sure. Not only does he get out of jail really quickly when he's already has a prior record, but when he goes over to Tony's and has this conversation with him in the basement, it's like, could the guy be any more obvious? And that's why Tony catches on fairly quickly.
I'm working on it.
Working on what?
Why, what were you gonna say?
You better lay low with that safe house money.
What are you talking about?
If Jimmy was a rat, was he flipped that day when they got arrested while playing pool? Or was it even before that? We see Puss with them, but Puss had already been flipped, so perhaps Jimmy had already been flipped too. Heck, maybe it was Jimmy who told them about the game in the first place. We don't know.
So, what are you gonna do about the Colombian money?
Oh, you out on bail on that conspiracy thing, right? It's only lucky prick like you would get pinched with a gun while he's out on bail for something else and still be out in time for dinner.
Next, Ray Curto. Rat? Definitely. Game over? Members only. Revealed? Proshai Lavushka. We find out that Ray Curto's a rat in Season 3, Episode 2, Proshai Lavushka, when we see Ray Curto asking an FBI agent if he wants him to wear a wire to Livia Soprano's wake.
Tony Soprano's mother's wake is tonight. Want me to wear a wire?
Why not?
We don't know for sure when Ray flipped. All we know is that he was flipped by the time Livia Soprano dies. But I think this part here, in Season 1, Episode 11, Nobody Knows Anything, is a good assumption.
A doctor, madam, wise guy, and a cop? That's what I call a vice superfecta.
We see he was part of the group that got taken down in the brothel. And so it would make sense to me. Okay, from this point on, he agrees to work with them. Now, whether he agreed to actually do real work is another question. Next, Jack Massarone. Rat? Definitely. Game over? Rat Pack. Revealed. Also in Rat Pack. We don't know how long Jack Massarone was cooperating with the FBI, but to me, it likely started after Season 2, Episode 2, Do Not Resuscitate. After Tony warns him famously, watch you don't get followed meeting me. Turns out that looks like Jack did get followed meeting him. But now the question is when.
The sound quality is amazing.
New hats. Mike's right in the button.
Massarone's a huge asset.
This scene here happens right after Adriana tells Danielle basically to go fuck herself. So they need a new undercover guy. Enter Jack Massarone. We know that he had a lot of baggage that could be used against him because of all the shit that he did with Tony and the unions, the construction jobs, etc. So he was definitely vulnerable and not the smoothest when it came to this kind of stuff. So to me, fairly easy target. Next, Jimmy Petrille. Rat? Definitely. Game over? All due respect. Revealed? In all due respect. Though in terms of game over, we don't know if Jimmy Petrille is actually still alive or not, so I'm putting a little asterisk there. We're at a bit of a disadvantage here in determining when exactly Jimmy Petrille became a rat, but the good news is Neil Mink fills in some of the gaps. He tells us that Jimmy Petrille gave them 18 years of shit. So I'm wondering, does that mean that Jimmy was a rat for 18 years? Or does that mean that it was less than 18 years, but he had information going back 18 years? I'd say probably the latter would be more likely.
Your father meant a lot to all of us, and not just financially either. Nicole, you remember Mr. Petrille?
What, honey?
Next, Eugene Pontecorvo. Rat, definitely. Game over, members only. Revealed, members only.
Go ahead. His master's voice.
We don't know exactly when Eugene was flipped, but we see him talking to FBI agents in season 6, episode 1, members only. So the question is, when? When was Eugene flipped? We don't meet him till season 3, but my best guess would be sometime around the end of season 4. And the reason is, he was the one who was sent to intimidate the juror. Remember the whole gas station encounter?
I got that.
Hey, what are you doing?
It's a privilege. Hard-working guy. Wife and 2 kids. Performing a civic duty we should all take part in. We know you do the right thing.
I could see that being something that tipped them off. But it also could have been a million other scenarios. Think about all the stops these guys make on a daily basis. All it takes is one mistake for them to bring Eugene in, similarly to how they did with Adriana.
Gene, this is Agent San Severino.
Hello.
So where you been, buddy? Haven't heard from you lately.
This is the first time that we see this particular FBI agent. So I assume that while Agent San Severino was working with Adriana and Ray, this guy was with Eugene. But we don't see any encounters that they have together. So other than this instance, we don't know exactly what that FBI agent's been up to or how he's been working with Eugene. Though we do know they apparently haven't kept in touch much lately at that point. Finally, Christopher Moltisanti. Rat? Maybe. Game over? Kennedy and Heidi. Revealed? Nothing definitive. We have no solid proof that Christopher was a rat, but we do have some clues pointing toward it. Here we are in this scene in Walk Like a Man, which is the episode right before Christopher dies. And he's venting to JT about all the guys and how none of them are really good for anything. This is after they'd all made fun of him at the bar and actually made fun of his daughter too. So Christopher says to JT, if I wanted to, you know what I could do? One phone call and it's over. Seems here, that one phone call would be to the FBI. So not only does Christopher talk about this, but then in the next episode, what do we see him wearing? A hat. We've seen Cleaver hats before. Tony even offered Hesh one. But when we think back to season 5, episode 2, when the FBI agent talks about how they have these new hats that have great sound quality, and then you think back to what Christopher says to JT, and then this meeting and the episode immediately following it, it does beg the question. They didn't get Adriana, but maybe they could get Christopher.
You have any idea, if I wanted, what I could do to these pricks?
Tampax, fuck do I know?
Well, now you know.
The sound quality is amazing.
New hats. Mike's right in the button.
You and your friend there, Stefano, have been pocketing how much on this Cowboys and Indians asbestos removal?
Figure you out on this.
25%.
The operations manager since I've been there at Borough Sanitation.
Dump it there. It's my only other suggestion.
So, what do you think? When do you think these guys were flipped? Do you think they were all rats? Why and or why not? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this latest video.